Hi children, how are you? Hope you are having a nice time at your home in the present scenario when we all are facing a very big difficulty of pandemic COVID-19 and the world is trying to find a solution for this. Let us try to continue our normal course of study by this e-learning process. I am Lijo John, your science teacher. Today we are going to continue with the topic respiratory system in human beings, and this class is for level 4. Hope you must be remembering what all topic we have already discussed. We had an overview of the complete respiratory system. Today we will be discussing in detail about some of the processes that is happening for the respiration process to be completed in your body. Let us just try to recollect what all we have studied. We studied the importance of nose in the process of respiration. We also studied that mouth and nose, they both can be used for the process of respiration, isn't it? As the opening you can see, through the mouth is also leading to the same passage, through the nose is also leading to the same passage. You must be remembering that they both lead to a common area which is called pharynx. And from pharynx we see that it becomes two sections, one which leads to the stomach through the food pipe, okay, or esophagus, about which we studied in nutrition, and the second pipe which leads to our lungs, and that pipe is known as trachea or windpipe. Okay, we studied that why we should not do respiration or breathing through the process through the mouth, because mouth does not contain mucus. Mouth is not the opening that is provided for the process of respiration. It's nose, because all the safety mechanisms are present in the nose. Okay, so those who have a habit of opening the mouth while sleeping, or those who respire very easily through the mouth, this is a precaution for you. Okay, next we also studied that from the trachea, from the windpipe, it gets further divided into two branches connecting it to both the lungs, isn't it? We also studied that these lungs are found in the thoracic cavity, which is made safe by these ribs, the hard bones that you find here. There are two important delicate organs in the thoracic cavity. One is heart. It is related to circulatory system, which we will be studying next. And then one is, of course, these lungs. There is one pair of lungs in our thoracic cavity, and we know it as right lungs and left lungs. And these lungs are two bags containing millions of small bags known as alveoli. These are all the structures that we studied. Okay. We also studied that the air outside does not have the same temperature, exact temperature like our body. So this air is warmed, it is moistened, it is made dust free before it enters our lungs through the long passage from our nose to the lungs. Okay, so all these are the basic informations that we study. Now let us come to some of the topics related to the mathematical details of the process of respiration and how this process of respiration is accomplished. What is our ribs muscles doing? What is the diaphragm doing? And how this air is pumped in and taken out. All these details we will be studying today. Okay. One experiment that you can do at home, if you can, is this one. Take a bell jar whose base is open, and at the open base fit one membrane like a balloon surface you can fit here. Then put one delivery tube which can be further branched into two tubes. Hope you are being able to link it to which topic I am discussing, and put two balloons here. Close this with a stopcock. Okay. These balloons will represent your lungs. These two will be representing your bronchi. This will be representing your trachea. Okay. Now see here, this vessel is completely closed. From here a balloon layer is closing it. From here by a stopper you have closed it. And this pipe is the only opening through which air can enter into this lungs. Okay. So one way which you can say is sending air into this is blowing air from here. Of course, if you blow air from here, these two balloons will start swelling, isn't it? Air will get filled into this balloon. But of course, that is not the process in which we respire. Nobody is blowing air into our lungs, isn't it? That air is automatically going through our nose, by the process of inhalation. So question is, are we blowing something from here? No, something is happening here by which air is coming from there. That is the process which you have to understand. So this is a simple way by which you can understand. Just take hold of this balloon layer and pull it downwards. When you pull it downwards, you will see that this balloon becomes bigger in size. Okay? Did we do anything to this balloon? We didn't do. We are just pulling this membrane downwards. But we see automatically air from here comes inside and fills this balloon. How is this happening? It looks as if it is something magical, but this is something related to science. We can understand it. As you pull this membrane downwards, the volume or space that you see here increases. Okay? When the volume here increases, that much air is not there. Already it is sealed. So air from outside has to come to fill in that space, and that is the air that is coming from here, which you see in the form of swelling of balloons. Okay? This is the same thing that is happening in your body. Okay? How can you explain it? How can you understand it? I'll try to make it clear. You can touch and feel the bones that you call ribs. This is sternum, the hard bone in the center through which all these ribs are connected. Where these ribs are ending, from there your abdominal cavity starts. Till the rib area, it is called thoracic cavity, and below the rib area, we see that abdominal cavity in which you find stomach, kidney, pancreas, and so on, several other things. Okay? This diaphragm is a balloon-like membrane about which we were discussing here, on which both of your lungs are kept. Both your lungs are resting there. So when you inhale, at that time this diaphragm is going down. I'll show you by picture. You can see, notice it very clearly in this picture. Can you see here? This diaphragm goes down, okay? And when you exhale, this diaphragm goes up, okay? This is inhalation, diaphragm is going down. This is exhalation when we push out the air. That means this is a membrane. This membrane will go down to increase the chest space cavity, the cavity that is so that more air can be sent in. Same just like as you see in this experiment, which you can do at home. Easily you can do and see it. Okay. Is there any other additional feature that is happening here? Yes. All the rib bones that you find here, this has spaces in between. There is special muscles which is found there. So when you inhale, you will feel that your chest cavity is moving front, diaphragm is of course going down, and stomach is coming out because diaphragm is pushing the abdominal region. So you will find that this area is also coming out. Okay. And this space, the chest cavity, you will find that is coming out like this. Of course, it will not come out much, but you can feel it. That much, of course, happens that you can feel it very easily. Okay. So what is the motto of this rib bones protruding outside or diaphragm going down? We studied here so that the volume can increase here, and then your nostrils will be able to push in air into the lungs. Okay. Passage we have already studied. It passes through the nose to the pharynx, then to the larynx, from there to the trachea, from trachea to bronchi. Bronchi further divides into bronchioles, and these bronchioles are finally attached to millions and millions of alveoli. Somebody has calculated it. It is around 300 to 400 million of alveoli in your body, in your lungs. Okay, 300 to 400 million. Can you imagine how wonderfully God has made us? Do we have any right to smoke cigarettes and damage our lungs? We cannot make it. At least we cannot make such lungs. It is God gifted. So we should be able to at least protect it, that which God has given to use. Okay. So this is the long passage through which air enters the alveoli. 300 to 400 million alveoli. If you open it, around 100 meters square of space can be created. A space which is equal to a tennis court. 80 to 100 meters square is a big space that can be created, and that much surface area is there. We will study why such a big surface area is needed, why not a lungs can be one single balloon. Okay. If you count only for 1 millimeter square of area, you can say that in just 1 millimeter square of area, surface area, the tissue, lungs tissue contains 170 alveoli. 170 in just 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter is a very small area. 170 balloons, 170 alveoli are found in just 1 millimeter square of area. That is a wonderful system which you see here, which works in our body to supply oxygen so that food can be processed, broken down to release ATP, the energy. Okay. Now, there are three main processes that are happening in the process of breathing. Okay. The first one is ventilation. Ventilation. Second one is diffusion. Okay. And third one is perfusion. Perfusion. Okay. Ventilation, diffusion, perfusion. These are the three main processes that happens when you are breathing. We also studied in the last class there is a huge difference between the words breathing and respiration. Okay, breathing is only sending in oxygen rich air and pumping out CO2 rich air. Respiration includes the complete process of breakdown of food to release energy and then pushing out CO2 through the body. Okay, so we have already studied that. Now in the process of breathing, when you are breathing oxygen rich air, three processes are happening. First one is ventilation, second one is diffusion, and third one is perfusion. What is ventilation? Ventilation is the word which we commonly say breathing. Sending in oxygen rich air, pumping out CO2 rich air. Okay. Then what is actually happening in the process of diffusion? Through this alveoli, oxygen is transferred into the blood, and from the blood CO2 is put into the lungs. This happens through a membrane, and hence this is called diffusion. Okay. This is hence this is also a process just like diffusion. In diffusion, of course, no membrane is there. In the process of science, we study that diffusion is direct intermixing, but here it happens through a membrane. Okay. Then after that, what will happen? Then after that, the process of perfusion will happen. That means the blood will be pumped from the lungs to the heart, from the heart to the lungs. This is called perfusion. Transportation of blood will happen, isn't it? Lungs and heart are nearby only. When oxygen is already added to the blood that is found in the lungs, then the function of lungs is to transport this blood to the heart so that heart can transport it to different parts of the body. And that process is called perfusion. Okay. So remember these three words: ventilation, diffusion, and perfusion. The normal lungs is so efficiently made that without aging, it is difficult to be damaged. When aging happens, then of course every cell or organ which is continuously working in the body will be damaged. Normal aging. But other than this, there are some other diseases which can damage our respiratory system. Like this COVID-19 can also attack our respiratory system, and it's very dangerous, especially for our respiratory system. Then tuberculosis, TB, and then you can say pneumonia. Pneumonia damages our respiratory system. If this is not controlled in time, it can cause a permanent damage. So these are some of the deadly diseases which can damage our lungs, especially the alveoli, which is so minute, so thin, or so delicate, found inside our lungs. Okay. Third and the difficult way by which we damage it ourselves is smoking. Okay. While smoking, people do not understand the seriousness of that issue, but by smoking, we are actually damaging the lungs, or in specific, we can say the alveoli. Okay. Also, when I'm saying this, you have to remember that maybe you will say that you are not active smoker. Active smoker means you are not taking a cigarette and smoking. That is done by somebody else. But remember, passive smoking is more dangerous than active smoking. Somebody who is smoking, his cigarette contains a filter. Through the filter, that air is taken inside, smoke is taken inside. But when he is exhaling that air filled with smoke, then all the impurities of his respiratory system is also coming out. So that exhaled air which contains smoke is more dangerous compared to the active smoking that he was doing. That means if you are not smoking but standing with people nearby, those who are smoking, it will be more dangerous for you compared to active smoking. So be very clear about it also. Okay. Now, the types of cells that are found in our alveoli may be two. Number one, it's called type 1 pneumocytes. Pneumocytes, CYTES. And second one is type 2 pneumocytes. Okay, type 1 pneumocytes and type 2 pneumocytes. When I say that alveoli is of two types. Alveoli, now you must remember which cells are called alveoli, isn't it? This pipe in your body, it is called trachea. When it divides into two, it is called bronchi. When that bronchi divides into fine tubes, it is called bronchioles. And all these bronchioles get connected into a small bag-like structure which is called alveoli, isn't it? And that alveoli is present in your body 300 to 400 million, which creates a huge surface area, isn't it? Now, these alveolar bags can be of two types. Number one is pneumocytes, type 1 pneumocytes. Number two is type 2 pneumocytes. Okay. Now, what are these types? You have to understand about this, just a brief idea. Type 1 pneumocytes are the alveolar bags which help in the exchange of gases. So, you have already studied about it, isn't it? Alveoli helps in the exchange of gases. That is this type 1 pneumocytes. Then there is another problem related to our respiratory system, about which I just discussed in the digestive system when I was teaching you. Okay? In the digestive system, what do we see? If you engulf anything which cannot be digested in your body, it will be sent out of your body through the anal opening. Okay? There is an opening through which the waste material, when sent out of the body, this substance which could not be digested can be thrown out. But any such opening is not found in the lungs. So there is all safety mechanisms present here which does not allow any foreign particle to go to the lungs. We studied about it, isn't it? As soon as even a grain of rice goes into the windpipe by mistake, then what happens? Our body tries to send it out. The ciliary action starts and the rice grain is sent into the food pipe. Till then we start coughing. We continue with coughing and then the body becomes normal when this rice grain has been put out. But there may be still many other small particles which are going into the lungs. For example, I am respiring. Then the breathing that I am doing, this contains so many tiny dust and other particles which is being sent to the lungs. Nobody can stop it. This is very small. How can we remove them? That is done by type 2 pneumocytes. These type 2 pneumocytes are the alveolar bags which will help to remove all the garbage. They are called the garbage trucks. Like garbage trucks, they will remove all the impurities that is reaching in the lungs, and then your lungs will always be neat and clean. So this is done by type 2 pneumocytes. There may be some immune cells also found which helps in the process of removing these waste materials. Okay. So these are some of the informations. How many times do you breathe if you check? If you have counted, that per minute the breathing rate in human beings is from 1 to 20. And when we are doing exercise, strenuous exercise, at that time it may be up to 45. Our breathing rate increases because at that time our cells need more energy. And to provide more energy, the breathing rate during exercise time increases. Okay? Normal breathing time is from 1 to 20 times, 1 to 20 minutes, approximately 20 times per minute. Okay? So you have a flow chart with you. Just go through it. We have discussed about all these words. I hope you should not have any doubt with this. We have studied about this. Okay? We have studied about all the words and the details in the last class and today. Okay? You have one worksheet. For simplicity, the answers are written there. Just go through the answers. Circular muscle at base of chest cavity. Today we discussed. This is chest cavity. At the base of chest cavity, the muscle that is found, of course, that is diaphragm. Voice box found here. That is larynx. Organ at back of mouth that allows a passage of food and air. That is the common passage which we were discussing, which is connecting our mouth also and nose also. Of course, that is pharynx. The nose cavity is a dash cavity. So, according to the space that is provided there, you can see that the word that can be filled there is nasal cavity. Carbon dash gas. Which gas of carbon is related to our respiratory system? Of course, it is carbon dioxide gas. The brain dash controls breathing. Then you can say the brain stem controls breathing. Okay. Sticky substance that traps dust. We studied about that day, which is found in our nose. That sticky substance is called mucus. Okay. Small tube between the bronchus and the alveolus. Bronchus and alveolus, the small fine tubes of bronchus, they are called bronchiole. Flexible substance that protects the front of windpipe. That front flexible substance, like our ear, hard like bone but can move. That is called cartilage. Okay. These are all across. That means in the box you will find it being filled across, not down. Okay. Down questions are here. In down, the first one is breathing. When it is written 2 here, as we have seen in the previous classes, it will start with the space where 2 is written. So this is the space in your crossword where you will start this question. And if it is across, you will go like this. Okay. So breathing. Breathing in is also called inhalation. According to the space here, you will write the word inhalation. Large tube to each lung. That means the large tube which is connecting to both the lungs, that is bronchus. Okay. Gas needed for respiration. Which gas is needed for respiration? It's of course oxygen. Don't write carbon dioxide. Space is not there for carbon dioxide. At the same time, carbon dioxide is exhaled. It is not inhaled. Okay. Then after that, breathing out. Breathing out is of course known as exhalation. Air sacs. Air sacs, name for air sacs is alveolus. Alveolus. Windpipe. Windpipe is the pipe which is connecting our larynx area to the lungs, and that is trachea. Then small hairs in respiratory tracts. I told you that small hairs in respiratory tract is known as cilia. So this worksheet is already done. You have to just learn all these words so that you may be very clear with the topic of respiration. So children, we have studied about 2 systems in our body. First one was digestive system. And in the next 2 weeks, we are studying about respiratory system. God has given us a very unique body with very unique systems. So we have to keep it safe. Okay. When somebody cannot respire by his own, just an example I am telling you, then he is given artificial respiratory support, which is called ventilator. Remember, when you are normally breathing, your alveolar bags are working normally. No problem at all. But when you are given a ventilator support for a long time, the alveolar bags get distended. It becomes big. And after that, it cannot come back to its normal position very easily. Once a balloon, if you fill in more air into it, it becomes distended. Can it come back to its normal position? It becomes very difficult. So you can understand that when God has given us this wonderful life, how we should be careful in protecting all these systems in our body. Be safe at home. Keep your hand washing. Somebody has said someone ate food in China and we all are washing hands. But be safe at home. Focus on all the topics that you are studying. God bless you. Take care.